How's it going? This is Larry Chung from Tigerway, and here I am with my former team member Melek, and he's actually based in Ethiopia, but we'll get into that in more of a second. Melek, let's start off. Welcome to the call, Melek. How you doing?
Thank you. Good. How are you?
I'm really good. So Melek, before we talk about your experience in the program and your growth here, let's just give an introduction about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and how you and I got connected.
Yeah. My name is Melek Abdul Hamid. I'm from Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. I got a chance to go for a summer class last summer in Boston, and I was also taking the SATs a couple months later. So my sister was helping me look for, SAT programs, and that's how we found you. And it was actually right next door, so it was very convenient for me because I don't like commuting that much.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how I ended up joining the program. After our
Nice.
first meeting, I thought it would be a good program for me.
Nice. So you joined back when we were still in person, and obviously now everything is online. But
Yeah.
when you first came in, the studio, which you still recognize, like there were a lot of people here, right?
Yeah, true.
And when you first saw that, what was your feeling? What was your feeling?
A bit overwhelming.
Okay, of course.
Yeah.
Because there were no seats, right? And you came.
No seats. It was full. A bunch of books stacked on top of each other.
It was just packed, right?
Yeah.
But you had a good time, right?
Yeah.
So that's great. So now let's talk about your program experience. What was your expectation of the program before you came to Tigerway? Like, what were you expecting?
To be honest, I didn't think that these type of programs were really helpful. Like, I thought like I would have to do more myself than, trust the program or stuff. Like I was a little skeptical about it, but after I joined, I realized that I was wrong, very wrong.
Oh no, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's like this program is about, me being the coach for the people, you, right? And so, I tried to make it different. So I'm glad you found it helpful. When you were here, let's talk about like, what was the aspect about the program that you felt was the most powerful for you, the most helpful?
The most helpful part of the program, I would say, was the questions you would ask us, like on stage or like on spot on, like the cold callings where you just pick on anyone randomly and just ask us to answer a question with like literally zero time, not even a minute.
Okay.
I think that's really helpful because in the SAT, like aside from the material, obviously, the second thing you need the most is you don't have to crack under pressure. You have to manage your time properly.
Got it. So the cold calling for you was very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Good. Very good. So let's talk about like how your score evolved. Before you came into the program, where were you from a score level perspective?
So I got an initial score of 1,210.
Okay, so 1210. Okay, 1210.
Yeah.
And then where did you take your test? Because you're an international student. Did you take it back at home in Ethiopia?
Yeah,
Or
I took it back at home.
You took it back at home? Okay. So you took the international edition of the SAT. Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you do, Melek?
I think I did pretty good, but I lacked a little on the time management part.
Okay.
Like I had to guess a couple questions.
Okay.
So
fair. And what was your final result?
So for the first test, it was 1210.
Okay. And then afterwards?
Afterwards, after the program, I got a 1360.
Okay. And then you took it one final time, and let's talk about that because that's what really catapulted you to megastar status. So how was that final test?
I wasn't as nervous as I was from the past two tests because of my experience, and the digital library was also a big help because I could practice lots of questions, and yeah, I think that was and especially the fact that it's easier to improve the math score as you showed, and that you're helping me focus on math was a big help.
Very good. So when you took the exam for the last time, I think it was in October, right? Uh,
Yeah, October.
what was your score in October?
1420.
1420. So from the
Yes.
12s to the 13s to the 14s, step by step by step. I'm very proud of you. The program is proud of you.
Thank you.
Um, you're a role model for the program because a lot of people, they are looking for exactly that same journey. 1200s, 1300s, and 1400s. And so when you,
Yeah, the program will help.
yeah, and so when you got your score in October, um, and you got the 1400, like, how did you feel?
I felt really happy. I felt that my hard work had paid off, and I felt grateful for the program.
Okay, yeah, and we were glad to have you. So obviously, it was your sister who signed you up for the program.
Yeah.
So how was your sister's feeling?
Uh, can you repeat that? Sorry.
Sure, sure. Like, so it was your sister who signed you up for the program. So, like,
Yeah.
so how did your sister react when your scores in October came out with the 1400? How did she react?
No, she was pretty happy.
Okay, good, good.
She told me I was right about the program. You should trust me more often.
Okay, okay. I'm good. I'm good. Oh, because she picked it, right? She picked it, right?
True. Yeah.
Okay. So good. So I'm glad your sister was able to find me. And how did you discover me? Was it how did you guys find me? Because a lot of places around here in Boston.
I have no clue at all, to be honest.
Okay.
One day I'm just back from class, and she told me I signed you up for this SAT class. I'm like, what? So I have literally zero clue about that.
Okay. Okay. So in other words, the program just somehow was appealing to your sister, and she just like signed you up. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's great to hear. Melek with 1200 to 1300 to 1400. I guess my next question is this: in our program, what do you think was the most valuable to you? If you were to rank it in terms of importance, well, like for example, was it the time management? Was it the digital library? Was it the cold calling? Was it the competitive environment that people were in? Like, could you maybe tell me the top 4 to 5 things in terms of importance to you? Like, what was the most important slash helpful to you? 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe 5.
Um, so I think that depends on what kind of person you are. So
Yeah,
if
for
you
you, for
already
you
have a
specifically.
good,
For you specifically.
for me,
Yeah.
I think I already had a good grasp, not very good, but I had a good grasp on both English and maths. So for me, the most important thing first was time management, because like
Time
I said,
management.
on the first time I took the exam, I had to guess like 10 to 15 questions, which would amount to, like almost 100 or 70 points. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
time management is very crucial for me. I would put that on top of my list. The second thing for me would be the cold calling. I think even aside from just the SAT, just later on in life, there are times where you don't really have chances to just think about the problem or whatever situation you're in. And I think that's second on my list. And third was the digital library.
Okay.
Lots of books that really helped me out, and um, the activities on it and the homeworks you also gave were also very important because
Okay.
they gave me an idea of what to work on.
Okay. Great. So time management, and then the cold calling, and then the resources. Okay, great. Awesome. So you were here in the program live, in person, and now a lot of people are in our program online. And by the way, Melek, we have people from out of state, like Texas and Kentucky and Florida, and we've got some team members from like Asia Pacific as well. So if there
Oh,
are
that's
people
good.
if there are people in your hometown that like want to like improve their scores, It's all online now, and the technology is beautiful, right? The technology is beautiful. We're breaking down,
Yeah.
yeah, geographic barriers. So can you tell us, me, like what kind of student you think this program is for? What kind of student do you think this program is for? If you were to describe, like,
Um,
who's a good fit for this program?
who's a good fit for this program?
Yeah.
So I would say it would have to be students who are hardworking. The score progress is not something that comes overnight. It's not a magical program. It's not magic, as you showed us in the video that magic doesn't exist. So yes, they have to be hardworking first and foremost. Um, they also have to be more social, I think, because the program emphasizes a lot on social skills. So I think that's also very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, just social, hardworking students. It could even be for, um, people who want to improve themselves on, not just their SAT scores, but maybe they want to socialize more with people, meet more people, or
The
just,
influence.
other skills. Yeah, the influence.
The influence. Okay. 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 Good. Um, Now, obviously, my program attracts a certain kind of student profile, like yourself, right? And like the many others who have been here and succeeded. But my program is not for everybody. And so let's talk about who you think, like what kinds of student characteristics or what kind of student profiles is my program just not for?
I would say it's not for students who are not either motivated enough or dedicated enough towards the program and who don't trust the model. Because
People who don't trust the model. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
those type of people, personally, I don't think they're set out for the Tigerway program.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because I want people who are listening to this to understand which group are they in, right? The group
Yeah,
that will find success here, or the group that should just go test optional. Just like better for them just not take the test at all, right? Like just because
yeah,
I always tell people, and this is a great analogy to motivate people. I say, look, some schools say it's test optional, but can I tell you something? It's like being successful is also an option. Being average is also an option, right? Like have
accurate analogy.
right, like being successful and influential, that's optional too. Like, do you
Yeah,
want to achieve greater things or not? And that is what I tell people when they say, oh well, I heard the SAT is optional, so like what are you going to do about that? And that's my response. Like, I mean, you could choose to be optional. College is optional.
for sure.
Getting a job is
For
optional
sure.
too. Getting a job is optional too. Everything is optional, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so for anyone who's listening to this, my message for you is anything is optional. And if you have that mentality, that like, and if you even ask like whether it's important, then the program's not a good fit for you, right? Like, if you're even asking that question, program's not a good fit for you. Like
Yeah.
so that's that. So great comment. um so let's talk about where you're going to university, Melek.
So I'm going to university at Northeastern,
Yeah, very
the
nice.
Boston campus.
Yeah, Northeastern University right here in Boston. So that's great. Now, what are you going to study here at Northeastern?
I'm doing a combined major of economics and business.
Okay. And what kind of future career do you see for yourself?
Um, I'm leaning more towards the entrepreneurial side, I guess.
Okay,
That's
okay,
what I envision for myself.
okay. So that's kind of like
Yeah.
what I went through. So you kind of like want to work in corporate for maybe several years and then start your own business someday, right?
Yeah.
um, and pursue the dream, pursue your passion, do what you're good at, do what you care about, and that's what really makes life really meaningful. Yeah.
True.
I'm glad
Yes.
you're pursuing that path, Melek. I think that could be a really good path for you. And I hope you
I
find
hope so too.
lots of success in this area, just like you did on
Thank
the
you.
SAT. You know, so that's that. I guess like our final comment was gonna, you know, I want you, now that you're going into college, for anyone who's listening, maybe a parent or like a student still in high school, what kind of advice would you have for students still in high school going through the SAT and the college process? Um, I want you to share some words of wisdom because you just went through it. What kind of advice would you
Yeah.
like to share?
So since the first thing is, I mean, since they're in your program, I'm sure they're gonna do well on their SATs, but just because you have a good SAT, 1400s, 1500s, does not mean you'll get into your target school or, any of the schools you want to.
Yep.
It has lots of aspects to it, so just focusing on one thing is not beneficial. So I would say the essay also holds a major part as much as the SAT.
Yep.
So you should focus on that too. And, yeah, and I just think you should be more yourself on the essay. And, if the school doesn't want you for that, then that means it was not the right school to begin with. So, yeah, that's my advice.
That's good philosophy right there. That's really deep thinking. And you're just entering college, but I love how you have that thinking that if the school didn't like your profile and who you reflected yourself to be on your essay, then it probably wasn't meant to be, right? And
Yeah.
not to become too spiritual, but sometimes everything happens for a reason. And what you just said highlights that famous phrase, everything happens for a reason. And I'm glad
Yeah.
Northeastern looked at your profile and was like, well, Melek, come on in, because they've got a wonderful co-op program, and you're gonna gain,
Yeah.
you're gonna gain some serious experience. A lot of people from the program actually are going to Northeastern, so hopefully connect with them on Instagram, and you can
I will.
have a network and stuff going into school. So that's great.
Yeah.
So that was great advice from Melek. And to wrap it up for our listeners listening, this is Melek, from Ethiopia. He found out about me through his sister when he was coming for a summer program here in Boston last summer. And, he moved from the 1200s to the 1300s to the 1400s. And we're really proud of him. And now he's going to study business and economics at Northeastern, with a very wonderful set of professional opportunities ahead. So, Melek, you truly are a role model for the program. And I hope anyone
Thank
who's
you.
listening to this, follows in your footsteps, has that growth trajectory, gets into a wonderful school with lots of future opportunities. So, Melek, I know that you're going to study like remotely back at home for your first semester. But once you're here in Boston in the spring, let's connect. Let's get a coffee. I'll
Yeah,
connect you with
for sure.
more people from Northeastern, and you're going to have a wonderful time here in Boston.
Thank
So,
you.
so thank you. And for everyone who's listening, I will see you guys in our next team member interview.